crafters, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Deepa from Designs by D, and I am here to show you a fun card that has a lot of dimension that also folds flat, so you don't have to worry about mailing these out. It fits into a 5 by 7 inch envelope and is absolutely stunning. So we're going to be using all of these products from the This Calls for Confetti store. I've got these 3 products which are from the last month's release, which is gorgeous. This is the Hop into the Unexpected stamp set, which has all of these gorgeous sentiments which have so much versatility and use with your crafting. We've got the Spring Balcony die set, which is a gorgeous die set to create this fun balcony, which is this part of the star of our card today, sorry. And the Petals and Pathways Ephemera. Now, this is also the star of our card today, and these images are gorgeous. You get 4 images, and they have the beautiful arch cut to them. The quality of the paper is amazing. It's not like thin, flimsy paper. It's pretty rigid and structured. It's pretty good. And we've also got the Windowscapes 1 die and stencil bundle. This is what I have here. You'll notice that this piece, this ephemera, works perfectly in that window. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And then I've also got the Daily Grind 6 by 6 inch paper pad. Now, I thought it was really cool. I've got this one piece of cardstock here from the paper pad. And I say cardstock because it's got a good weight to it, as I've mentioned before. I figured it had a bit of a stucco look, so it could be the wall on the backdrop of our balcony. So let's use that a little later. I'm going to go ahead and cut a panel 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. This is basically the back panel for our card. Now I cut it out of white, and technically you could cut it out of that coffee paper from the paper pad, or you could just use the coffee paper and cut it to that dimension and use it as your panel, which is what I'm going to end up doing in the end. Now I've cut a cardstock panel here to 6 1/4 in length. And now I'm scoring it at a 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, and 2 1/4 inches. Now that's going to create the 4 columns that's going to create the pop-up feature of our card. And then the 5th little piece there, that 2 1/4 score, is where I'm going to cut it. This creates a little lip so that we can fold this into a square, like a square kind of column, and then attach it. Now, as I mentioned, as you can see, this coffee stained cardstock it's pretty much like a cardstock, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that to the right dimensions. So this is now being cut to what I had the other panel cut to, which is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So technically I didn't need the white panel. If you want your card to have a bit more sturdiness and rigidity, you could add that in there between your card base and the pattern paper, but it's up to you. Now here I'm taking that coffee cardstock and I am cutting it at 1/2 inch each. I did score it in order to cut it because my paper cutter doesn't allow me to measure that. So how you cut it is up to you, as long as you have 2 strips that are 6 1/4 inches by by 1/2 inch. And this is just going to be glued onto one of these little columns on this scored piece that we just did. So now I'm going to take these 2 pieces. So keep in mind, I think I forgot to mention, I did score that 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, and 2 1/4 inch panel twice. And now I'm going to fold it down, and I'm going to add some strong double-sided adhesive on that last section that was scored at 2 1/4 inches. It's the smaller section, and it's just a little lip, as I mentioned, to attach one end to the other. And I do recommend using some strong double-sided adhesive because this is the feature on our card which creates movement and the dimension, and you want to make sure that it doesn't come apart easily. So I've gone ahead and created one column there. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the second piece to create the second column. And as you can see, when you fold it flat, it's kind of easier to attach the ends. And you can see it pops up to be like a square column, and then it pops down to fold flat. That's exactly how it's going to work on our card. Now again, I'm taking some more strong double-sided adhesive and attaching it to one of the faces of that 4-sided column, and I'm going to attach the 1/2 inch strip that we cut from that coffee, the daily grind paper there. I just think like the papers are so fun, and if you have a little bit of imagination and you really look at them, you can use them in this manner. Like I know that's supposed to be a coffee stained kind of background, but it really does have like a fun structural like stucco type look, which totally works with this card. So these are our 2 columns, and this is how it's going to kind of come together. You'll see that we'll put the ephemera in the center there, but we won't put anything together yet. Just put it to the side for now. Next thing we're going to do is cut out our window piece out of black, and then our balcony pieces out of all of the colors that we require in order to put it together. I'd like to look at the packaging. There is a guide on the back of what colors to cut out. You don't have to use the same colors, but as long as you use the same technique, I find that it comes together nicely. So, for example, if die 1 and 2 were cut in 2 different colors, I'll cut them in 2 different colors. If die 1 and 3 are the same color, I'll cut 1 and 3 out of the same color. But it doesn't have to be the same color on the packaging, right? If it's black on the packaging, maybe I'm going to do pink on mine. Now, I used a series of golds and blacks. I did cut out the actual lattice of the balcony 3 times. And you'll notice when you do cut the lattice the first time, it's very delicate. And that's why I did it 3 times. I layered it together here in order to give it a little bit more sturdiness. Keep in mind, it's going to be part of the moving function of this card. So that's why I wanted it to be a little bit more rigid, more like a cardstock or a chipboard. So now that I've got that together, 3 layers, you can see it's pretty rigid and good to go. Not as flimsy as just the one single die cut. And you can always do that for anything. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the actual balcony together. And again, I stress using the packaging in order to assemble these things because it just makes it that much easier instead of trying to figure it out yourself. So I've got a black strip here. I'm going to put the thinner, which I think is the smallest strip that you cut from this set, on top. And I cut this out of some metallic shiny cardstock here in gold. So it's going to create like a nice rail with the black underneath, which is kind of like a wrought iron, just like the lattice of the balcony. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the top of the lattice. Now keep in mind, if you look at the lattice, there's the 2 rows of circles, and above the top row, the columns are a little bigger. Below the bottom circles, the columns are a little smaller, like the rectangles below it. So the smaller one, it should go at the bottom. The longer one should go at the top based on the image on the packaging. I mean, in theory, you can do whatever you like, right? But if you wanted to kind of follow the same imaging that or the way that it's intended to be used, that's the way you would do it. So I've gone ahead and attached the rail, and then I have to put together all of the little layers for the bottom. Now for the bottom, I have a matte gold and a shiny gold, and then there are 4 pieces. Now in the set, it comes as a small rectangular piece in a larger and a smaller size. You have to cut those out twice to create kind of like the legs of the balcony on the left and the right side. So I'll go ahead and assemble this based on the packaging here. So I have the second largest strip being placed on the largest strip now, and that's all in gold to create that beautiful bottom of the balcony. And then the little legs, so you're going to place the gold larger rectangles on top of the black smaller rectangles in order to create the feet, and then attach those to the long strip at the bottom. And then all we have to do is attach that entire thing to the bottom of the balcony lattice, that black lattice. And that pretty much assembles the entire balcony. And it just looks so absolutely elegant. I love this die set. So it does take like a little bit just to put all these pieces together, but I assure you the final result is so worth it. So moving on, we're going to cut out a bunch of shrubbery. So you've got the bushes and then the flowers that come with this set too. I've cut them out of some darker, like a sage green, a lighter green, and then like a darker pink and a lighter pink. And I've chosen these colors from the ephemera because they match, they go together. And I wanted to just add a little bit more other than just adding all the pattern paper and the ephemera on there. So, and I also wanted to use the balcony set completely, right? So when we're putting this together, I'm showing you there that I had kind of lined up everything so that we're not missing anything. So for me, and again, it's all about preference. If you don't care, it's completely fine. Put it together however you like. But for me, I love the boat in that ephemera scene and the petals and pathways scene there. So I really want the boat to be seen. And so I want my arch to be a little higher up above the balcony. And then the bushes, I don't want them to cover so much of that ephemera scene. So I'm really trying to kind of space them out a bit so that everything fits and all the things that I want to be seen will be seen. So I'm going ahead and I'm attaching my bushes straight onto the balcony before I attach it to the scene. And I'm just mixing and matching these greens for the bushes, and then also the flowers, just kind of sticking them on here and there randomly just to create like a more natural looking scene. So those little flowers are a little bit tricky, but I cut them in the darker pink, the lighter pink, and then in a peach cardstock too, just to create some more fun on there. So now that I've got my balcony done, I can go ahead and start assembling this. Before that, let's go ahead and attach the Petals and Pathways ephemera to the Windowscapes window. So there is a sill at the bottom of this window frame that's probably going to get lost in the design, but that's okay. We just really want to outline the ephemera to give it the look of a window. So we'll go ahead and attach the scene here. And then we can go ahead and attach it to the coffee cardstock panel. Now, as I mentioned, I really want that boat in the scene to not be hidden. So I'm going to go ahead and attach it a bit further up on the panel, closest to the top as I can, while still showing just a little bit of that coffee cardstock behind at the top. Then I'm going to add my strong double-sided adhesive to the columns. Now keep in mind this has got to go on the panel that's directly opposite to the panel on the column that has the coffee cardstock because we want that to show forward. So we'll go ahead and we'll attach these to the sides very carefully, making sure that they fold down easily and they're straight and line up with the card panel, okay? So you can see you still get the look of that window through there. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the second column. Now, if you don't want to worry about which side you're putting the tape on and if that coffee strip on the column is going to show, you could use the other piece of cardstock in the pack and create the columns out of that completely, but I didn't want to waste too much of the paper because it's so amazing. It's always the case where you get like these amazing products, especially the ephemera and paper packs and stuff. Like stamps you can always stamp out many times, dies you can cut out many times, but these paper packs and ephemera, it's like I have to use them sparingly. They're so pretty and it becomes a conundrum, right? Anyways, we've gone ahead and we've attached both columns here. You can see you've got the window peeking out, which looks absolutely gorgeous in the center. And once we put the balcony on the front, you can see how amazing this looks. Now, aesthetically, this idea and the look of the card is amazing. But I just realized that who is like standing on a balcony and looking through a window and seeing the outside? You would be seeing the inside of a house, right? So technically the card doesn't really make logical sense, but who cares? It's pretty, right? So we'll just pretend I didn't say that and completely ignore it. But let's throw logic to the wind. It doesn't matter when it comes to creativity, right? Logic does not matter. I mean, why were ceilings painted on? I mean, I don't know, but it doesn't have to make sense, does it? So we'll go ahead and attach that balcony there. And as you can see, you have to make sure you're only attaching the glue on the left and the right side, whatever is going to attach those columns, because anything in the middle is going to pop up and you don't want it to be stuck down when you flatten it, right? Now, the next thing we're going to do is add all these extra little shrubs in like the top right and left, just to kind of tie everything together in the foreground and match those bushes and those flowers that are on the balcony. And I think that this really just pulls it together. It creates a foreground and a background. There's a lot of dimension there. And the best part is it all folds flat so that we can mail it, right? Now, for our sentiment, I'm using the Hop into the Expected stamp set, and you can see that you can actually craft your own sentiments. So we're using the Let Yourself Bloom, which is one stamp, and then there's also a random this stamp. So I'm attaching the this to the end, so you get Let Yourself Bloom, this, and then the final portion of it is going to be spring, which I'm going to stamp out as well. Now, since the card has a lot of color going on in it, I am choosing some black cardstock and I'm doing some heat embossing. Keep in mind, I am using the Epic It's No Secret Anti-Static Powder by This Calls for Confetti. It's really fun because it has like a wand, so it's easy to put on. And if you're looking at it, you're probably thinking, oh my God, that's a lot of anti-static powder. Like, that's just going to make my black cardstock look weird. Don't worry about it. When you heat up the embossing powder and let it cool a bit. Then when you wipe off the anti-static powder, it comes off really easily and you get the restored look of your cardstock there. So don't worry about it. I did think that initially because it is a heavy like touch when you put the wand on, but as you can see, my sentiments look amazing. Now keep in mind, go back to the sets that you have. So I did do that here, and I got the Bananas About You set, the die set, and it has perfect sentiment dies for cutting out sentiments. So I always kind of like to look back at the sets that I have and use those for other purposes like cutting out sentiments, and that's what I used here. So I've gone ahead and cut out the Let Yourself Bloom this. I've attached it, and then I've also got the spring here, which is a little bit bigger sentiment strip, and I'm going to attach it here in the middle, which I think looks gorgeous, and it stands out nicely. It actually looks like it's part of that window frame, so it all comes together very nicely, I have to say. And then the final part of this card is bling, my favorite, and we're using pink glitter confetti and platinum glitter confetti. Because there's so many colors on this, I like to kind of use a mix. I find that the pink pulls in all the pinks of those flowers, and then the platinum has like a champagne type look that goes with the gold, which works perfectly. So this card is basically done. Now, if you wanted to, you could leave the card as is and write whatever sentiment or note on the back and deliver your card that way. Or you could create a card base too. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a card base to show you how you would do this, because this is not a typical card size. So I score it at 4 1/4. I'll fold it. I'll cut off the excess piece and then cut it at 6 1/4. And that's how I get my irregular card base. And then now I'll go ahead and I will attach this to the back of the card so that it opens up. So it not only stands up, folds flat, but you've also got more space on the inside. So I'd recommend doing this if you want to put a lot on the inside of your card. If you don't have that much to put, it's a simple note you're going to put, you could just probably write it on the back. And you can see here I've got a 5 inch by 7 inch envelope. It folds flat and fits right inside with a little bit of extra space. So that works out perfectly. So I hope you've enjoyed this card video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Everything that I've used is linked in the description below, so you can check that out in the store. And then here are a couple more videos that you might want to take a look at for fun. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.